You don't think black mothers and fathers, black employees, black union members, black teenagers, black citizens of the United States care about safety in their neighborhoods? You think they want this? Probably the most racist thing you could say. But Democrats treat them like that. No, no, no. We want riots in the streets. We know how black people think. No, you don't know squat. As evidenced by the fact that one side, the Republicans, stand for law and order, and the Democrats embrace and worship chaos. And people are starting to figure that out. Okay, last night, the violence in Kenosha after the shooting of Mr. Blake, which we don't have the details on yet. But of course, liberals who absolutely have fallen in love with the idea of inflaming anti-police and racial hatred in the country have to jump to conclusions and defend mostly peaceful protesters who were not mostly peaceful. So I had warned on this show repeatedly, nobody wants this. No one. Nobody I know who's sane wants their neighborhood burning down and shootings in their streets. And does any sane person want that? I think the answer is no, we don't. Thank you. Nobody wants the apocalypse at their front door. Yet, of course, this Marxist terror group, BLM, and their even worse fascist terror group, Antifa, which is really pro-Tifa. I get it, the acronyms. I dislike pro-Tifa, the pro-fascist group. They love burning your streets down. And I had warned you repeatedly, as a man who spent most of his adult life in a prior profession in law enforcement, that my experience is these situations reach a boiling point where people who live in neighborhoods are like, you know what? You're not going to burn my house down today, and I'm going to defend it. Do you blame them? And I had warned you that violence was going to hit the streets. I had warned you because the only people who want violence are people who haven't looked at it up close and personal. I'm not going to give you this story again. I've spoken on the show 1,000 times. But when you see violence up close and personal as a street cop, and you go and you respond to a homicide, and you're in a bodega in the 7-5 precinct in Eastern New York, Brooklyn, somebody I know might have done this, and you see a kid on the floor with the contents of his skull all over the place. You don't forget that. These people out there, whatever, I don't even care what your politics. Shooting, whatever. Nah. But I had repeatedly said that people are not going to sit back either. And they are not going to let you attack their families, attack them, and burn their neighborhoods to the ground. Devastating incident in Kenosha last night. A warning. The video is disturbing. It's being played on a lot of outlets. I actually thought twice about using this video because it is disturbing to watch, but it's necessary because you're going to see more of this in your streets. If we don't get these hack, fake, phony, fraud politicians to establish law and order and call out these groups for what they are, anarchists, we're going to see more of this. And nobody wants this. There's a conflict between these groups, these protesters and these other counter-protesters. It got violent, resulted in a shooting. The shooting was caught on tape. The results of the shooting are all over social media. You can see it yourself. I'm not going to post the pictures. But again, warning to parents with kids watching on YouTube. Those listening on audio, you can hear the chaos. I'll describe it afterwards. This video is deeply disturbing. I'm not sure you want your kids to see this. All right. It's about, 25 seconds long or so, Paula. So give it like a minute count if you want to be safe. Check this out. What you think you saw and heard, you saw and heard. This is on an American street. This isn't the downtown Kabul. Or Kabul. Someone always sends me an email after that. It's not. This is Kenosha, Wisconsin. You want more of this? And keep voting for the same people who think, no, we'll just let these protesters, we'll just let them file down the street and burn people's businesses down, and we'll call them mostly peaceful. You want more of this stuff? Of course, no sane, rational person wants any of this. There's a process for police use of force incidents, a legal review process. That process is happening right now with the George Floyd case. It'll happen as well in Wisconsin. There's a crime committed, there'll be a legal review. If there's an administrative law broken, there'll be an administrative review. If there are no laws broken, those reviews will say that. This isn't process. This is a war at your front door. Ridiculous. This video doesn't have any sound, but you want more of this? Is for those of you watching at home, there's a Black Lives Matter sign in front of I think some non-denominational church. Yeah, it's burning in the background. The cars. Again, you want more of this? You got an election coming up. You got a choice to make. It's clear as day. One side supports law and order. Order is process. The process by which police use of force incidents are reviewed, that is order. When people say law and order, that's what they mean. There is an orderly process where we review these things. I'm not for government overreach either, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to get to that in a second. It'll be my final story. But I'm not for police being thrown under the bus either before you've allowed the process to continue. You don't believe me? Look at this Zogby poll. You think the Democrats are winning on this? Look at this. New poll, Zogby. Hat tip Paul Bedard for this. President Trump's job approval rating, 52% now. Disapprove, 47%. Look at it amongst African Americans, 36% approval. Amongst Hispanics, 37%. Asians, 35%. He's going up dramatically. Zogby Analytics. Why do you think that is? Because racist Democrats treat black people as if they're automatons and they're not independent thinkers, as Dan Cameron addressed in the beginning of the show. You don't think black mothers and fathers, black employees, black union members, black teenagers, black citizens of the United States care about safety in their neighborhoods? You think they want this? It's probably the most racist thing you could say. But Democrats treat them like that. No, we want riots in the streets. We know how black people think. No, you don't know squat. As evidenced by the fact that one side, the Republicans, stand for law and order, and the Democrats embrace and worship chaos. And people are starting to figure that out.
You just heard Dan Bongino.